My name is Zachary Conan. Today we are talking about Gus Van Sant's 1991 queer masterwork, My Own Private Idaho. Now, there are favorite films. There are absolutely significant films. There are films you despise, films that you love. Then there's films that are important to your own life. And My Own Private Idaho is one of the most important films in my life. You want to talk about a film that not only cemented and molded my appreciation and adoration of film, but a lot of aspects of my own personality as well. When I was 19, I went on the road, inspired by books from Jack Kerouac, films, of course, like My Own Private Idaho. I wanted to live that kind of have-not lifestyle, and I did it for quite a while, sleeping in parks and just probably living the most punk rock life I could possibly live. My Own Private Idaho is an extremely punk rock film, and when I was on the road I couldn't help but think of that film incessantly, and the kind of wild kindness that Gus Van Sant sets up for his characters. Now, this was when Gus Van Sant was on fire, and I would probably posit that, with incredible confidence, that Drugstore Cowboy and My Own Private Idaho are two masterpieces. They are brilliant beyond measure, and they are incredibly important to me, to my life, to figuring out who I am, to figuring out how to get past certain ills, certain defeats, certain problems in my life. And Gus Van Sant's, those two films definitely did that. Drugstore Cowboy being about a quartet of junkies who rob convenience stores and drugstores for money. My Own Private Idaho is something incredibly different. It's part a Shakespearean adaptation and part a hobo prostitute romance. River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves star in this film, and they both do remarkably well. River Phoenix is one of my favorite screen idols of all time. River Phoenix is one of the most incredible actors on the face of the earth. Had he lived, we would all be singing in praise for him. Had River Phoenix lived, he would have changed the world of acting. I fully believe that. The promise that he showed in films like My Own Private Idaho or Running on Empty is simply extraordinary. Something that you can't duplicate, something that can't be replicated. River Phoenix had such a soulful, such a quality of pathos, such a very vibrant and visceral emotionality that he changed people who watched him, and he changed me as well. This film, Gus Van Sant is a genius. Gus Van Sant is an absolute master. He truly was a master of the queer, rebellious punk rock film. In the late 80s and early 90s, he was a master. He still continues to make a few interesting films today, but of course none are as youthful or as positively radiant, as positively challenging, as positively unforgettable and lovable as his earlier works, including even Mala Noche, but My Own Private Idaho and Drugstore Cowboy in particular. These are the films that can change your life. They're the films that turned me into a complete cinephile. There is a list of films that help do that, because that's not just something you choose to do, that is something that is forced upon you by the brilliance of film. And this was one of the films that wooed me, that seduced me. My Own Private Idaho is still life-changing. There's still so much creativity involved in it. Even if there is so much creativity, even the kitchen sink is involved in it. I think that it's completely phenomenal, and I think it's full of flaws, and that makes it flawless. I think that it is full of the self-awareness, and that makes it poetically oblivious at the same time. It's a film of romantic queer contradictions, and I think that that's absolutely fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful. Everything is wonderfully composed about this film, and it hits you so deeply, and it hits you so remarkably deeply that no one is the same after properly indulging and in this film and digesting it. My Own Private Idaho is a wild movie. It's a wild film. It's one of the most important films in my life. I actually can't imagine the way I understand the world without watching My Own Private Idaho at a very crucial time. I think in my mid-teens or something, 15 probably. I can't imagine understanding the world the way I do right now without Gus Van Sant's interpretation of the idealized form of My Own Private Idaho, of that place within love and protection, that place for the have and the have-nots, that place where you are truly free and secure, that place inside of America where the prince and the hobo gigolo alike are equal and in love. So in love, it's as if Shakespeare had written it. And, I mean, this is a very, very loose adaptation of Shakespeare. It's a wild environment to put the bard in, but the bard flourishes. Keanu Reeves is also fantastic. I don't want to limit his capabilities either. He was very determined in this film. This was probably a courageous film to do at the time for him. The film is completely rebellious. The film is completely without equal. The film is its own complete thing. And Gus Van Sant proved his mastery. He did showcase his mastery on Drugstore Cowboy, but My Own Private Idaho definitely secured it. And you cannot say anything less of Gus Van Sant. Even if you disagree with one of his films, he will always be the maker of My Own Private Idaho, and there's absolutely no way you can take that away from him. He's a fantastic director. He's one who really, really does understand what I believe the human condition and the human experience is. But even more than that, I believe he understands human wants and desires incredibly well. Incredibly well. He understands the idealized form of both the perverts and the angels alike, and he is willing to broadcast them. He is willing to capture that in all of its indecent glory. My Own Private Idaho. There are certain films that are just important to your own life. There are certain films that just remarkably affect you. My Own Private Idaho is one of those films. I mean, in fact, this DVD has the features, the appearance of a worn-out paperback book. And that's almost the way I like to view it. It's been through a lot of travel. It's been with me for a long time. And the film's messages will be with me forever. And the beautiful thing about them is that they'll never transform. Is that they will always make me feel young. This is a film of static being in the best possible way. Because it's a place where you can put it on and you can feel exactly as you did when you first watched it. And hopefully the first time you watched it, you were a teenager. And you can feel that kind of punk rock abandon, that freedom that you dreamt of back then, that anarcho-freedom, that nihilist freedom, that romantic freedom. Hopefully you can feel that again when you put it on, and you'd be wrapped up in that stasis of complete and wild love and protection. My Own Private Idaho is extraordinary. My Own Private Idaho is a masterpiece. My Own Private Idaho is certainly essential viewing. Essential American viewing, essential art house viewing, essential queer cinema viewing. Everyone needs to watch this film. It really affected me. It really continues to affect me. As in, like, I've been hit by lightning. I've been hit by the lightning of Gus Van Sant's brilliance, and my body quakes because of the thunder of his physical poetics, because of his visual dynamics. My body will never stop quaking. This film really does, I don't know, deserve a shrine. It deserves to be worshipped. It deserves everything. It's a brilliant movie. And I'll never be able to get it out of my mind, and that's good, because I never want to lose that part of me, that younger punk rock part of me, that knew what freedom was, that that knew what it believed in, that knew what it wanted. And the older I get, the more clouded those goals and those ambitions and those beliefs are, the shakier they are, actually. My Own Private Idaho reminds me of how rock solid they used to be, and how much I truly believed in this fantastic have and have not kind of love. That was rebellious, that was anarchist, and that was full of a queer romance. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video. In the comment section, what do you think of My Own Private Idaho? What do you think of Gus Van Sant overall? What do you think of his earlier career? What do you think of that midpoint? And what do you think of the films that he is doing now and has been doing? I think he's overall a pretty fantastic filmmaker. He is a master, but all masters have their peak, and his peak was certainly around 1991. In the comments, let's talk about Gus Van Sant, let's talk about River Phoenix, let's talk about Keanu Reeves, let's talk about My Own Private Idaho. Thank you guys for watching. It means a lot to me that you did.